You can keep looking. Hey, welcome to the Business Small Business Show and JobKeeper, JobKeeper, JobKeeper. Yes, that's the word on everyone's lips right now. I feel like it should be a game show, but it's not. It's pretty serious stuff. There is, the government want to help us, and I was speaking to a client that is in the, gratefully unfortunate position of they can't apply for JobKeeper because they're actually growing through all of this just recently. So they said, yeah, we looked into it and we've worked out that we can't get it. And I said, mate, you're growing. That's a good thing. You're not missing out on anything. Right. And he's gone, yeah, that's what we came to realize too. So, so not an ungrateful situation at all. So it is one of those things. I've got with me Sandra Price of Price Bookkeeping and Tradie Bookkeeping Solutions. Sandra does do a lot of bookkeeping for tradies, but she also does a lot of bookkeeping for people who aren't as well. In my conversations with her, a lot of people are getting really confused. In conversations with a few people, a lot of people are getting really confused and getting a bit grumpy that accountants are asking for money for the registration of this thing. Look, I want to bring this back and let's start being real people again, right? The government's trying to help us out. It isn't an entitlement. If your business is growing, fantastic. Be excited.
In this uncertain world at the moment, if you're able to continue to grow, then that is like the best news ever.
If you need help, the government's there to help you, and ask for all the help that you can get from them. Absolutely. Now, I spoke to someone last night and they were on some chat group somewhere, not Brisbane Small Business, and somebody had said, my accountant's looking for $600 to lodge my application, to lodge my JobKeeper. And he went, I told him to go and find another accountant. I went, stop that. It's rude, right? Yeah. The reality is your accountant has an entire business just like you do. They have infrastructure just like you do. They have offices just like you. They have employees just like you. They are part of us. They're all hurting as well, and they've noticed a really big impact as well. So Absolutely. Please don't just automatically assume I'm getting charged for this, that's a rip-off. You do have the option to do it yourself, and Sandra and I are about to walk you through that process now. And we also will have an option if you would like someone to help you out. I've teed up with Sandra to be able to do that. So starting with that, Sandra, tell us a little bit about you.
Wow, it all started. No.
It did. That's when it all started.
I started my own bookkeeping business back in 2012. And I've been bookkeeping, though, if we go back to the very first, stage of bookkeeping for 35-something years. I used to harass my mother to let her help me, let me help her. Sorry, it's been a long couple of days. Let me help her do our farm books, whether that just be writing checks or whatever. So, after lots of different jobs and stuff, I went, what? I want to do it for myself. So
politely,
my work history as well.
Very politely, Sandra, a little bit weird, but that's okay. We've all got our eccentricities, and yours just happened to be that you like doing books. Okay, fantastic.
Badge of honour. Don't worry.
We've had this conversation many a time. Look, I am a reformed accountant, so I feel that I can make these comments. But Sandra, look, it's one of the things that there is so much confusion and so much stress about this. There are a couple of basic rules that we want to get across the line, right? First, if your business hasn't, if you haven't been affected by the whole lockdown and all the fear that's rampaging and spreading like a virus throughout the world, and your business hasn't shrunk by 30%, right? Now, there's lots of different ways that the government are going to look at that. They will look at this March to last March. They will look at this March quarter to last March quarter. They will look at March to February. There's a whole lot of different ways.
They've been they've been quite generous with what the parameters that they're setting that you can use. So You know, you can use cash reporting or accrual reporting. You can do a month, you can do a quarter, you can use March, or you can do projections on April and going forward. So there's lots of different ways. They're trying their hardest to help you access the JobKeeper.
And that's the thing. They are trying to help you. They're not trying to exclude people at the moment. They're looking for ways we can help. However, I do have a feeling that at the end of this, if people have been shown to absolutely just been rorting the system, I think there's going to be pretty significant penalties involved. One, you're going to have to pay back every cent that you've had. And as Damien pointed out yesterday, Damien from Peak Partnership pointed out yesterday, if you've got 10 people and you've been getting $3,000 per person per month across, with 10 people, there's $30,000 a month you're getting. If then this is drawn on and you've been found to get, 6 months or more, then all of a sudden you've got $180,000. You're going to have to pay it back.
That's just the JobKeeper. If they impose some penalties on there, that's additional to that as well.
Step number 2, every cent that you get from JobKeeper has to go to the employee. Now, that doesn't mean the net pay. That means the gross pay, so including tax. With your $1,500 a fortnight, there is $192 of tax included.
That is
I've learned
correct.
how to look up tax tables, Sandra. You'd be pretty proud of that.
I've taught you well. No, we've had a lot of
there is a slight indentation here where Sandra has beat me a couple of times with a very thick tax reporting textbook thing. So of the $1,500 a fortnight, that $192 you need to put aside for your next BAS statement so you can pay the PAYG component.
That's correct. So the $1,500 is your gross figure. So then
that $1,500 though doesn't include your superannuation figure that you need to include, right? So there will be a 9.5% superannuation on top of that $1,500 that you need to pay. However, it's only on the normal payment. If you've done a top-up payment to the $1,500, you don't have to include super on that. You're more than welcome to, though.
Yes, so it is up to the discretion of the employer whether or not they pay the superannuation on the JobKeeper or the top-up. The top-up amount. But it obviously there's different scenarios based on whether you're still working full-time or you're working and that's just a supplement, or you've stood staff down and you're now going to be passing on that payment. So there are some variations in there that, depending on your circumstances, as to how it's all going to work and how you need to set it up into Xero or your accounting software.
Cool. Now we've got that part through. The next major part is why there's so much excitement this week.
Well, it's not just because school went back and we're homeschooling as well. So we had an interesting conversation on that last night too. So basically what the parameters with the JobKeeper is that if you've had specific staff on the books on the 1st of March, is part of the eligibility. Now, if you register for JobKeeper by the 30th of April, you can claim April's wages. So $1,500 per fortnight per eligible employee. But you have to register by the 30th of April to be eligible for that.
So here's where the excitement comes into it. So if you have already been affected and you're wanting to claim the back payment for April, you have to be registered before the 30th of April. Now, when the government announced register your interest in this, they had 863,000 people register interest.
Correct.
Remember that number. On top of that, these are people who have registered. There's a whole lot of people who won't have registered, right? Now, we've known, and let's just go back to the online census. I think it was, situation where all of these people all of a sudden jumped onto the government site and it crashed. So there is going to be a lot of stress put on the government site at this stage. Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, look, I'm in a lot of bookkeeper groups on Facebook and stuff, and it's a very common thread that, everyone's having issues. So, they're doing the best that they can, but it is a large influx all at once. So,
and that's going to slow.
Patient.
And that is going to slow down the data entry that you're needing, and particularly if you're trying to find through the stream and all that sort of stuff. So we just want to get all of that stuff out of the way so that we can talk about the exact process that's there. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so much.
Yeah, you go.
There's so much information going around, and we've been talking with accountants and other bookkeepers as well to try and make sure that we're not missing anything, because the legislation is, we've known about JobKeeper for so long, but we haven't actually had the past legislation so that we can start building that process around it. So, we're navigating this, a lot of people for their own businesses as well. So, there's so many different sources of information. It's just trying to bring it all together. So it's, a nice, for me, I like my little checklist and procedure.
So it is a multi-step process, yeah?
It is. So,
and it involves you, it involves your business, it involves your employees, it involves your BAS agent or accountant, whoever you're using. It's getting all of the right information into all of the right places and making sure that then the government can automatically pay you nice and easily, yeah?
That is correct. But the first step of the process is getting yourself registered. Now,
so this is your business you're talking about?
Yeah, getting your business registered for the payment.
Or the employing entity, because you may have a proprietary limited company.
Yes.
Trusts can register as well.
Yes.
If you're paid out of the trust, and also if you're a sole trader, so you work from an ABN rather than you're working from a, and then you would be lodging your tax return probably from your own personal tax return, but through with an ABN, as opposed to you're a sole trader. You're thinking I'm a sole trader but I've got a company structure that I pay myself through. Yeah.
Yes, correct. So, and it's a little bit different for each one. But so the first thing you've got to do before you can even register is check to see if you're eligible. Now, if you're using Xero, they have this excellent little tool that they've just released, which will do that calculation for you. Now, and it's based on March. At the moment, March is all that they've got that's available. So
there is some automated stuff there, and if you're using Xero, great. If you're using MyOb, they probably have their own thing, and QuickBooks and Quicken and all that sort of stuff. They may or may not have the right thing, but you can also check manually.
You can. So the idea behind it is that, say, for argument's sake, we're going to choose March as the quarter, is the month that we're going to use. So what we've done for some clients is we've run a profit and loss statement on March this year, and we compared it to March last year. Then we looked at the percentage.
So what are we comparing? We're really only comparing the revenue line, aren't we?
That is correct. So it doesn't include, it's your main sort of sales streams. Things like interest and stuff like that isn't included, but there's some information we can pop up about exactly what is included. But you are looking at your sales figures basically, and that's realistically the only thing you need to look at this point on your profit and loss to make.
So we're talking to small business only here. Let's simplify the stuff and not talk to anyone else. Has your revenue decreased by more than 30%?
And you do that, run your profit and loss for March 2020 with a comparison against March 2019 and work out what the percentage is. So
Cool.
if you have increased by 30%.
Yes. The answer is yes, I qualify. What's the next step?
Okay, so now that you've qualified, you need to go through and check if, oops, sorry, I just bumped the keyboard. So now that you've qualified, you need to have a look and see whether or not your employees qualify. Now, this is the first initial steps. So, were they employed on your books as of the 1st of March? If you've had a casual and they were employed on the 1st of March, they need to have been on your books for more than 12 months. If you have since March had to let some staff go, you do have the ability that you can bring them back on with the JobKeeper payment. But basically, you need to make sure that your staff are eligible. So these are people that are on the payroll. So once you've made sure that they're eligible, then you need to log on to, if you're doing it yourself, you need to log on to the business portal where you would normally lodge your BAS and click through there to show.
We talked about having that page. Have you got that page?
I do have the page. It's the login page. Let me.
Can you just go share screen down the bottom of our screen? Working with technology and
this is a new one for me too.
And childlike people. Let's say that. If you can hit share screen, you've got that. Great. I'm going to add it to the screen. This is the one that we're talking about.
So
the business portal. Okay.
So let me click that here. So yeah.
Not too quickly.
The business portal.
That's the ATO business portal, yeah?
So the website is bp.ato.gov.au. Now, if you lodge your own BAS, that's where you would go.
Where you lodge your BAS, okay?
Exactly. Now, if you are utilising your BAS agent or your accountant tax agent, they log into their own business tax portal. It's similar, but slightly different.
So there you go and log in with your MyGov ID that you've got set up.
Yes. You click through there, and
if you normally get this done by your bookkeeper or accountant, they're going to be the best person to do this for you.
Yeah. Look, and it comes down to that we'll be doing hundreds of these. So, it's knowing exactly where to go and what you need to process. Now, once you actually log in, the type of information that you will need to provide is that, I'm just referring to my notes. So you need to, step one is enroll the business for the JobKeeper wage subsidy, which it's basically follow the links, click yes, yes, yes. It's answering questions like, are you sure? Are you eligible? Yes or no?
So you've got a bit of a cheat sheet that you're going to be able to send people on this.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we're going to put that below here after that. That's it. I'm sure other people can look more manly when they do it than I do, but let's not worry about that. Great. So it's really color by numbers at that stage. The stuff they want to know is what type of entity you are. Yep. What else?
Well, so it's things, which month have you based your downturn? Have you had a reduction in sales? How many employees you have on? Number of employees that are eligible. So it's really, you don't have to provide any detailed financial information or anything like that now. It's just jump in there. Yes, I'm eligible. Yes, I'm a company. Yes, I'm this, and done. And that's pretty much all you need to do. And add your bank details so they know where to pop the money.
So that's part one, yeah. But we're not fully registered yet. We're just registered as a company.
So that has registered the business.
Great.
for job.
Now what do we need to do?
And you've nominated. So you've got to remember too that because of things like STP now, everything is linked to the ATO. So they see everything. So
STP is that single touch payroll.
Sorry?
Just making sure everyone knows, STP is single touch payroll. You know
Correct.
how you have to do your lodgement of your payroll now through either Xero or MyOb or some accounting package that is online, and you have to have that information going through to the governments automatically.
Yes.
You must be registered for that.
That is correct. So there are ways to do it if you are not registered for STP, but it involves a lot of forms and paperwork and submitting. And trust me, it will take longer for them to process and get to you. If the information is all there for them electronically, it's much easier for them to just go bang, 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 done.
Awesome. So we've got our information in. Then we've checked that, yes, we are registered for STP, or then do we link that to the company, or what do we do?
So if you're already registered for STP, that's fine. It's already linked. Everything's been set up and it's done.
Right.
So if you're already registered, skip to the next one. You know, there's no hassles with that whatsoever.
Cool.
Most businesses these days are registered. So, you know, hopefully it's only a small percentage. Then, now that you're registered, and if you do it by the 30th of April, you'll be eligible to receive payments for the fortnights in April. Now,
so that's the business is now registered, but the government yet don't know how much they're paying you.
no, they don't. So that is just the first initial step that you need to get done ASAP.
Right, that's the first step. What's the next step?
So then we move into moving forward. Every month you must lodge via the business portal, via your BAS agent, tax agent. You have to lodge with them that you are still meeting the financial requirements. So there is a monthly reporting that will go on.
But before, hang on, you're confusing us here. Sorry, you're accidentally confusing us, giving us too much information, right? At the moment, my business is registered. However, the government still doesn't know who it's paying. You're jumping into what's happening in May and June and July. Forget that. We want to talk about today and this week, what we have to get done.
You know, it's just a small thing.
Come closer. We've lost your voice.
Sorry. Just a small part that I missed there.
Your microphone's playing up, or you're not shouting at it. You need to shout at your microphone.
I'll have a drink of water.
That could be it. So while Sandra's having a drink of water, I know that from talking to Sandra already that the next thing you have to do is you have to register every single employee to be linked to your business.
You do. You have to then nominate you need to provide your employee with a I can't remember the exact terminology, but it's a JobKeeper employer nomination form. So that is letting them know that you are registered and you have intent to claim the JobKeeper payment.
That's better. You've come back. All of a sudden, you were not speaking to us at all. So each employee needs to complete. So you need to provide to them, and they need to email back to you a signed JobKeeper registration, employee registration.
There's two parts to that. So the employer needs to have a notification form.
Is this because you're not talking very loudly, or your microphone's playing up?
It could be the microphone.
Okay, so you need to lean forward and shout to it.
Close up.
That's better. That's better.
So you need to have an employee nomination form, and you also need to have one for the employer.
Sorry, the employee nomination form you mentioned, and then I couldn't hear you.
Okay. So you have there's an employer nomination form, which is informing your staff of your intent to claim the JobKeeper payments. then each individual employee that you are going to be claiming for needs to complete an employee registration form.
Great.
Now,
Because I want to go back. This is really important, and you were drifting in and out, right? And this is the critical part, because if you don't do all of this, then you won't be registered for these people, and therefore the government won't be giving you the money, because they may also be working for someone else under the government's thought process, or they may be working for somebody else that doesn't need the JobKeeper support, right? So this is where this is really critical. So there's an employer nomination form, and then there is an employee nomination form.
Yeah.
Two different forms.
Two different forms.
And both of
need to be shown and given to the staff. The employee one needs to be completed and returned. Now,
so the employer one you send to your staff, yeah? Is that what you said?
Yes, so you complete that form and if you've got your BAS agent or someone who's doing
have you got anything in front of your microphone? Because when you're saying the really critical information, that's when we can't hear you.
No, I haven't. That folder. I haven't changed. Nothing's changed. I'm a bit closer. Apologies for
That's better. That's better. Be that close. So go over that again, because this is really critical, and this is why I'm labouring on it, because this is the absolute heart of you will get your back, you will get this, you'll get them registered, you'll get the back pay, and all will be okay, or you're going to miss out.
Yeah, so the first form is the JobKeeper Employee Nomination Notice. So this is what you use. It's before you enrol to receive the JobKeeper payments. You must complete the form and provide it to your eligible employees. So is
there a PDF? Can you share? Is that a PDF that we can share there?
It's actually in a Word document, so you can change it, but I will...
if you can show that on the screen that you're sharing, that would be awesome, and I'll show everybody what that looks like. Because, as I said, maybe I'm labouring on this, but to me, this is the heart of where the stress comes in.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a government agency, and yes, they have over-engineered the process in one sense, but they're doing that so that they're ensuring that employees aren't claiming JobKeeper from 5 different employers. Okay, so this is a Word form that's from the Australian government. This I can't scroll up and down. Sandra can. This is the form that you need to be sending to your team. This is what you send to your team, or this is what you...
This is what you send to your team. So this is the JobKeeper Employee Nomination Notice. So this is what you send to your staff to notify eligible employees that you intend to participate in the JobKeeper scheme, and to ask eligible employees if they agree to be nominated by you as their employer, so they can receive JobKeeper payments. So this is where it comes into, if perhaps you've got long-term casuals and they are working for 2 different people, they can only claim from one employer. So you must have them fill these forms out so you've got the details of, are they claiming through you or are they claiming through someone else? If they work full-time for you, then,
And I'm assuming that the government will only accept the first registration of an employee with one person. Look, the government has the ATO have exceptionally sophisticated data matching stuff. If an employee fills out the same form with 4 different employers, only one of them is going to get paid. So make sure you tell your employees that they're not going to end up getting the $1,500 from 4 people.
No, they could end up in some pretty serious trouble as well. Things like fraud. So, it's important that it's important that they keep it all, that everything is done correctly, not only to cover the business owner, but to cover the employees as well.
Absolutely. So this employee nomination employee thing, you send that off to the staff. They sign it, put in their tax file number. They send it back to you.
Correct.
And then you need to. What's that?
Then it's kept on file. Then what we do is through your, if you're registered for STP, Single Touch Payroll, through your accounting software, we use Xero, so that's why I always refer to Xero.
Yep.
You can then mark which employees within the payroll system that are eligible and that you intend to claim for. And then when you process your payrolls, that information, when you file for Single Touch Payroll, that information is already filtering through to the ATO.
Great. And so
that automation some steps out.
Fantastic. So all of this stuffing around up the front, that's going to save you a whole lot of extra compliance stuffing around further down the track.
Absolutely. So it's a bit fiddling and forms and this and that to start with. But once you're registered and set up, and then you're processing your payroll as per normal, and it's fairly simple then after that, where it's a lodgement of some details at the end of every month to make sure that you're still eligible. You might be 1 month, you may not be the next sort of thing. So it's just making sure that your eligibility continues.
So to keep the eligibility ongoing, they must be getting paid $1,500 per fortnight.
Absolutely, but the business still needs to have shown a 30% loss in turnover.
So all of a sudden, if the business has a resurgence, it's not eligible, and therefore you won't be getting that.
No.
Okay.
So, they're pivoting and pausing what they're doing. So, they might need that support over the month.
Slow down because your mic is playing up a little bit, so just say it loudly and slowly.
Okay, so, if you're one of those businesses that have pivoted and your services, you've adapted, you may be eligible to claim it for March, but maybe April and May, you're not, and that's fine. But that's why we continue to do the monthly reporting and the monthly lodgements with the ATO.
So is it possible to drift in and out of eligibility?
Look, I believe so. I think, there's a lot of other factors that are taken into your eligibility as well, depending on, maybe you had an exceptionally super month in March, but you've got nothing booked in. So,
so let's not worry about that right now because we're concerned about the process of getting it in. So as we said, one, register the business. You need to go on to check if you're eligible. Then you need to register through your business portal to register for that. You'll be asked a series of questions that you need to respond to. You don't need to give exact details, but you do need to have them ready because at some point in time, somebody could come knocking on the door digitally and asking you prove that. And they are going to be doing data matching through all of the information that is provided to the ATO throughout this time period. Remember, they do data match that with your bank accounts and all that other stuff. So make sure that you're only claiming if you are eligible. Then step 2 is registering your business to be the nominated business for these employees. Then step 3 is these employees providing you with a physical form that they have signed that you can upload to show that you're the nominated employer that they're claiming the JobKeeper through.
Yes, so you'll find though that all these particular steps kind of happen together.
Great.
So there's 3 different things that need to happen and they sort of Again, they all need to happen together.
Yes.
And
So it is something that, so it is a little labour intensive from that perspective.
it is, yes.
Right. So, you know, don't automatically go, hey, my account wants to charge me money for this. They're ripping me off. That's not the truth. They're just wanting to get paid for the hours that they're doing. Okay.
And if your structure, if your company or your trust is quite detailed, it may not be as simple as running a profit and loss report to calculate this down to. There's a lot of factors that come into it that can take quite a time and take some skill. You know, you need to have someone highly skilled in that area to do that.
That is used to dealing with the HO and stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, so once we've got all of that, so once they've filled out all those forms and they've got that, they're now registered.
Correct.
They can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yes, that's the first hurdle you've got over. Then it's just the monthly maintenance. So it's getting your payroll set up correctly. It's maintaining, you know, checking at the end of every month that you still fit the eligibility criteria and lodging that with the ATO. So
Now,
all the heavy lifting
the government keeps talking about fortnightly payrolls. Do people have to pay their staff fortnightly?
No, you don't. No.
So it could be you're paying $750 a month, a week in relation to that, or it could be, or more, or it could be some other, whatever that works out to in a month. So multiply that by 4.3 to cover the monthly scenario, I would imagine.
Yes. So
way outside my calculation right now.
You don't need to change the way you are assessing the payroll. When you are lodging, though, it does happen fortnight, but when you provide the information, it's all worked out in the wash.
Great. So the information will be worked out on your single touch payroll or from your single touch payroll.
Yes.
You'll be needing to so what we've covered so far up until now has been what you need to do to register.
Yes, correct.
Okay. The next part is what you need to do to claim.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the claim process is a little, is once again, it's going to be a little automatic through the payroll. However, it's also going to be complemented with the fact that you still need to prove that the company is eligible to make the claim.
Yes. And look, I'm sure there'll be more information as we actually haven't got to that stage yet where we have to put those forms in. So, you have to maintain your eligibility. So, that you put the criteria and, that needs to be done every month. And that needs to be processed before you release the payment.
So on top of registering and then making your initial claim, you're then going to need to keep, at the end of every month, you're going to need to prove that then you are eligible again for that time period that you can claim back the money and the government can do that. So there's ongoing work associated with this.
There is, you need to be able to, maintain your accounting software and keep your figures up to date so that when the time comes, it's just a matter of
So if you've only been doing your financials once a quarter for your BAS statements, you're now going to be needing to do them fortnightly to make sure that everything is coming across properly so that the government's getting the information that it is expecting to know that A, people are being paid, and B, that your business is still eligible. Okay, this is a really important point. So,
and, most people that come in desperate need some support. So, you want to get it in as soon as you possibly can so they can process it.
So great. So you've put together a special deal to help people get registered, get their employees registered, make sure that they are eligible before the 30th of April so that they can claim the April payments that they've made, yeah?
Yes, we have. So what we've done is we've put together, as I said, a package, and it's $197, and that is we will step you through the process. We'll register you for JobKeeper. We'll check your eligibility, and we'll ensure that all your the correct forms and everything are completed, and we'll file those, like install them for you as well.
So you were saying that you've got a deal where it's for $197. You'll do all of that, check the eligibility, check that the people are eligible, make sure you complete all of the documentation on behalf of the company and put in that first claim. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, so we have heard accounting firms up to $600. And as we said, that's a fair price with, everything else. They didn't get all of their knowledge just yesterday. That's a really awesome deal for people. What we'll do is we'll get you to put a link, once again, all of that information, the link in this information, but we'll also create another post where we'll have that so it's easy to find and people can do that. If you know other colleagues that are struggling and they don't know where to go, they can also do that. You've also offering people a free 10-minute quick chat about, hey, what are they struggling with?
Look, if they go to another, still not sure I've got questions, they can jump on and book a 10-minute call, and we can help answer their question and give them some confidence.
Yeah, so that 10-minute call, we're going to ask you to do a little bit of information, plan out, fill out a little bit of detail to help Sandra understand so she can be ready for it as well. Because obviously with all of the inundation of work that is between here and 30 June, we've only got 10 days or 8 days. I just lost 2 days. We do have Anzac Day in the middle of this and everything else. So, you can't expect Sandra to sit on the phone for 2 hours and help you actually lodge your stuff. That's not going to happen for free.
As possible. So we kind of need to have all the information before so we can be shorts up and packs full of value.
So it is about all of us respecting each other's time in this particular situation and doing that. So look, we have taken it along. We've taken 40 minutes for a 10-minute chat. Sorry, there is one comment, and let me find out if we've got that. They do have a question for later. Is expected loss? If you're expecting a loss for April, I believe there are some circumstances where you can do that. However, then if you find out that you don't get that and you're found to be ineligible, then you're going to have to pay it back. So there are situations around that, I think.
I can see that question. So March was just my example of the month I chose. You can choose April. It's no problem whatsoever. There is some flexibility with what reporting period you use. So, I've similar boat. Lots of clients that were doing great up until March, and then April, it's basically non-existent. So, yes, you still, as long as you're eligible in other areas, you should still be right.
Absolutely. So then you can do that. So, everyone, please be kind to each other. That's the one thing I want you to do. Please respect each other's time. When you're on different chats, and in Business Small Business, we actually police this. But when you're on different chats, don't get angry with accountants because they want to get paid for their professional expertise. Don't get grumpy with people that you're looking for advice from. If you're using a lot of their time, well, unfortunately, if they're in professional services, that is their stock in trade, okay? They trade their time. So please remember that. If you would like some help and you would like someone to do this and you don't have your regular accountant or you're grumpy with your regular accountant and you'd like some help from Sandra and her team, please, there will be a link in this stream. We will also create a separate post and feel free to put comments in there. If you're a different bookkeeper and you just want to put in, hey, I compete with that, sorry, that will be deleted straight away. Sandra reached out to me and asked, hey, could I put this special offer together? I've said, yes, you can. And that's partly because she's one of the directory members. okay? And so my job is to help her get business. And it is really, if you're wondering how do you get on these shows, become a member of the directory. You need to become a showcase member of the directory, and that's how you get on the shows. So please, we are looking to help as many people as we possibly can. I want to make it easier for everyone to do business. So Sandra,
Sorry,
you've gone silent just as I said that.
the printer started just as
we can't hear the printer. That's okay. We can hardly hear you. So, so please, thanks very much for your help.
No worries at all.
Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for reaching out and helping us solve the challenge that we heard with some other people feeling that they weren't getting a good deal. And thank you very much for all of your help today.
No problem.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch up with you later.
Bye.